Good morning.
Good morning.
Mira, se llama Gina Bobina.
¿Cambiaron esto?
Sí. Tumbaron los árboles.
Cuac. ¿Cuándo cambiaron esto?
¿Te acuerdas que tú dijiste que tenía otro?
Ajá. Ya, sí, yo no caí aquí.
Y ayer estaba viendo un video, pero yo creo que es viejo, o en la parte de hielo, hay como una máquina grande de hacer un boquete en la tierra, como que tiene un pico al frente, algo así. Y yo me he caído en el hielo, o sea, no sé si es verdad. Pero lo vi ayer.
No lo sé.
Claro, tómate.
Joder, ¿cuál es? Yo tengo un...
O sea, que tú escribiste ayer, y yo, pero el chico no venía, Ay, ya solamente comentó.
¿Qué?
Que ayer te le pusiste aquí yo algo cuando le escribió.
Ajá.
Y él dijo, pero Chiqui no venía. Y yo le dije, no, ella solamente comentó tu estupidez.
Estaba trabajando.
Ganamos dos y como siempre.
¿Por qué?
Y yo robar los kills.
No, no es malito.
Está bien cobrado. ¡Ah, cabrón, salte para allá! Pero ganamos dos como quieras.
Roba aquí y roba el loot también.
Bien cabrón. A mí me da risa cuando me dice, ahí no había nada. ¿Para qué pasa? ¿Y para qué pasaste por ahí si no había nada?
A la verdad que no vale la pena caer aquí. Una porquería.
Bien cabrón. pusieron una lanzagranadas que
Escanean.
escanean.
Sí, tengo una. El bounty está por ahí. Teléfono.
En el puente.
No veo. Están los dos.
Ahí te viene el tipo.
Mira, se quemaba. Uy, perdón. Y yo.
Ah,
Te dejé las balas ahí.
ahí no hay problema, porque están disparando, pero si tuve que hacer un bot,
Sí,
ayer
después se le estaba ayudando.
caímos en la parte de allá. Hay tres allá donde tú tienes que alzar la pesa.
Ajá.
Pues hay tres por ahí. Yo voy para el de la izquierda. Y él desde Ponce le dispara aquí, al de la izquierda.
El de
Después que yo le
izquierda.
di 4 tiros, y yo, cabrón, hay tres personas. Está aquí, estaba disparado, bueno.
Bueno, vamos a robarle el contrato.
Vienen por ahí.
¿Dónde?
Arriba.
Tumbé uno. ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué ha pasado? Uy, espérate. Adri, comiste. ¿Qué queda? Está bien, por allí. ¡Uy!
¿Dónde? Por ahí, por ahí.
Me mataron de atrás y los pasos cuando salen. Qué estrés. Cogieron grietas.
Cuando cogían la grieta, antes se veía un poco la carpintería.
Antes se veía qué.
Bien clarito cuando estaban saliendo de la grieta. Ahora, a menos que tú estés bien cerca,
Podré coger mis cosas. Cuac. ¿Dónde se puede morir? Por aquí. Acá hay otro para que lo cojan.
Dos equipos más que equipos más que. Están a peseta, están a peseta. Ahí hay otro,
Sí.
ahí hay otro.
¿Qué fue eso?
El bot, el del faro, el del faro. En serio, donde vimos
Mm.
al frente hay alguien, marcó a alguien, yo creo.
Supuestamente que si tú marcabas con eso, cuando está marcado le podías disparar a través de las paredes.
Algo así, son un bot, mierda.
¿Tú le disparaste?
Sí, yo sé, vi que marcó. Mira que
Viene el bounty. Está cerca.
el carro. Era bot, no fue tan agresivo, ¿no?
Se bajaron.
¿Será? Esa mierda marcó, ¿eh?
Una montaña.
Voy a olvidar el palo, voy a olvidar el palo.
Vamos a ver si es verdad. No, es en busca.
Diablo, me dio otro tiro, me dio otro tiro.
Es buenísimo.
Da uno. ¿Cómo? Diablo, me dio 3 tiros nada más, está abajo conmigo.
Ya era hora.
Eso se está viviendo el cabrón, yo creo.
Dale el bosque te reviva.
Es que estoy en el agua,
No.
me está reviviendo. Ya los me dio, La única vez que me dio 3 tiros nada más.
No, son buenísimos, te lo dije.
No, revive.
¿Dónde se está reviviendo?
Es que estoy en el agua, me estoy moviendo.
Ah, que el tipo se revivió.
Yo estoy en el agua. Entonces estaba
No estoy
moviendo.
hablando de eso, que alguien se estaba reviviendo.
Ah, en la agua.
¿Se murió? Pizza para todo el mundo. Un Sky. ¿De cuándo acá? Aquí conmigo. Me fui.
Me cago en la madre. ¡No me cabe! ¡No me cabe! Mierda. Shit.
¡Sube! De DH estarán.
Se va a la izquierda. No, está ahí.
Por acá.
Está ahí, no. Está por ahí. Está dormido. No creo que estén ahí.
¡Wow! ¿Cómo subieron? ¡Puñeta! Casi. Subieron, parece que me agotan.
Avanza y empieza Fortnite. Gracias.
De nada.
Fácil.
Quack.
Basura, la tanta.
Yes. Hay un carro aquí.
Frente tuyo, la más frente.
Sí, cayeron ahí dos.
Creo que ya está ahí, creo que ya está ahí.
¿Eres Bounty?
Sí, sí. Primero que ya. Bóstame para atrás.
Detrás de ese edificio ahí. Diache, balas mías.
Qué miedo.
No mataron. ¿Viste tú?
No, no. Ahora maté el que estaba ahí.
Diache.
¿Tú estabas disparando a alguien?
No.
Pues se quedó pegado tu pistola. Está ahí disparando.
Hay alguien por ahí.
Abajo. Ahí, acá. Aquí hay alguien.
Aquí hay alguien más. ¡Toma! Hay corona. Ah, ya tú tienes, ¿no?
Así que maté. Suave.
Lo mataron. En la montaña. Cuac. Uy, hay alguien aquí. Te maté. Uy, viene otro.
¿Cómo me dio ese? Mira, hay uno bajando la montaña.
Déjame curarme. Ah, pero ya tú dices.
Hay uno acá. Y uno acá.
También coge pista. Uy. Basura. Ah, me caí, güey. No me deja coger. Quedan 3 y no son equipos. Quedan 2 y no son equipos. No lo veo, no lo veo.
Estará aquí adentro, estará aquí adentro.
¿Qué está ahí?
Ahora si no estará ahí, porque
No creo.
movió, movió.
Va a revivir en la feria, yo creo. Ay.
La montaña, la montaña.
De la montaña ven. ¿Te tiró?
No, ahí, no, ahí.
Ay.
Tiró por nosotros, pues.
Ah.
Estaba ahí. Se me acabó de volar.
Toma.
Pues sí.
Revivió porque quedan 4 otra vez.
Bien, cabrón, cabrón. ¿Dónde carajo reviví ese cabrón?
Allá en la casita esa. Ni sonó.
Tengo que estar para allá, porque no veo.
Tiene que estar aquí.
Por ahí, por ahí.
También escondido. Y no tengo lo de escanear. Ah, tú lo tienes.
No, ellos fueron, ellos fueron que estar para aquí, tienen que estar para aquí.
Detrás del palo. Sí, estamos aquí, ya nos viste, idiota. ¡Wow!
Tiene uno. Otro, bravo.
Viene el otro. Está un tiro. ¡Qué
Bueno. A tirar el guillo. Mi pistola no quiso disparar.
¿Qué hace? ¿Ya apagaste la tabla? ¡Ey! Anda.
En la playa, dije. Me está disparando. Por ahí, por ahí, por ahí, por ahí.
Ya, se robaron el contrato.
Lo lavón. Está por ahí.
Está por aquí. Arriba.
El techo. Le quité no está blanco por ahí.
Ya que no le entró ni un tiro y la miré.
Yo quisiera que tuvieras mi cámara ahora.
¿Qué?
Y alguien me dio. Alguien por ahí. Los globitos esos cuando se explotan. Parece un peito silencioso.
Sí.
Bueno, no es tan silencioso.
Lo vi por acá, por la casaca. Cogí otra línea de eso. Están los dos.
Tiene uno por ahí.
Están los dos.
En el techo. ¿Cómo? No te creo. HBT, cualquiera. Bajaron para donde no. Yo estoy detrás de los escombros. Ay, los otros, Cati. Corona.
Soy el conductor de la gracia.
Choca.
Lo que esto vira.
Unos power tools jodidos.
Denme las gracias, maldito. Un placer llevarlos a su muerte. Vienen dos. Por ahí mismo están.
De uno. Sorry para los que llegan. Ya alguien por ahí.
Toma la sola. Ya, che, no tan brain.
Mira que hay un cosito. Ya. Por ahí no era.
Bueno. ¿Me bajó? Ah, se volcó. Gracias. No veo a nadie.
Allá vi gente, allá vi gente.
Abajo. Carro.
Quería tumbar y se cayó, tumbar y se cayó.
Me caí. Se están curando.
Se fueron, se fueron.
Sí. Diache, mi loco. No, acá. Me estoy curando.
Ah, no falla, no falla. Está
No.
cabrón, no, disparan 3 tiros, los 3 tiros me dan.
Alguien más le está disparando. No, mi amor, es acá. Termino este y te va a bañar.
Voy un momento aquí atrás.
Viene por aquí uno.
No tengo bala.
Está adentro. Están los dos.
Izquierda, izquierda. Pero tengo 5, tengo 5.
¿Cuatro qué?
4 balas lo que tengo, 4 balas lo que tengo.
¿De rifle?
Sí.
No. Ay, la tenía que ver. Al frente hay gente. Se metió aquí. ¡Oh! Muerto.
¿Quién tiene la bombita también, yo creo?
Sí, hay más gente disparando de lejos. Me la pegó. Y hay gente al frente. Me mataron.
Alguien.
Te vio. Hay dos más.
¡Oh!
Me voy.
Vamos.
Bye.
Hopefully they can fix it though, and if they get different zones, maybe we'll see different players from them, but still not the worst game ever for them. Maintains their squad in second.
Well, let's take a look at the leaderboard again, because I want to see where Size and Scary, our Spanish duo, are, because Mini Miner, it wasn't a great game for them. I mean, it's amazing. It really speaks volumes of their performance yesterday, that they've only gone down one place because they had a horrible off-spawn.
Well, it's their worst game. It is the first knock that we've seen from these guys, their first problem, and they went down here, Levin, in quite surprising fashion, especially considering how much we were hyping them up at the beginning of the day.
Yeah, we were bigging them up for their fighting, and then they just allow Azat to isolate the 1v1, and he didn't miss the shots, and then Scary's on the back end. He tries to get, Sayaz back up, right? And they look for the revive in the mist, and Azat was not letting it happen. Jumps in the box, one pump, bang, back to the lobby for the Spaniards. A game to forget, but hopefully not a sign of what's to come. We saw them win a lot of those fights. Like that's just a fight that they would have won and cleaned up really quickly yesterday. A bad sign to start the day.
I'm excited about it now, though, because it's like, sorry, Frankie, because it's like, it's something we haven't seen from these guys yet this weekend, and you spoke about it at the beginning of the day, Levin. These guys want to make sure they're not going to be the anomaly, they're not going to be the team that fall off after day one. So how are they going to react now? They haven't been in this situation before when we look at their entire careers, and they haven't been in this situation before when we look at just this weekend. So this is going to be a really exciting team to watch now.
I mean, it must be so difficult when you are outperforming other people's expectations of you, and suddenly you're like, actually, this is reality. We could do this, but now all we need to do is almost like not get ahead of ourselves and not let the nerves set in. And I wonder if that's something on their minds, because they know they should make it to Dusseldorf, but now they know that they could also win $120,000, Levin.
I mean, yeah, it's a lot of pressure, right? And so when you're the team that was winning a bunch of fights, and now you go into your first important fight the next day and it just doesn't quite work for you, do you start to question yourself? Do they now think, actually, no, maybe we shouldn't be as aggressive as we were yesterday, and that ends up leading to the decline of the performances? I wonder where their mentality is at in that regard.
And they had a favourable zone as well. It's like another missed opportunity. We spoke about it a little bit yesterday, these missed opportunities for these teams. They're going to be looking at that now, where that zone ended up, and be like, oh, if only we won that fight. But hopefully it doesn't knock them down too much.
Who are we looking at then going into this next game? Who are we expecting to really step in? Let's say, hypothetically, we finally get a West pulling zone.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's going to be their moment to sort of have a massive game and sort of close the gap in that first phase. It's going to be big for me to look at Pablo and Chino to see if we do get that West zone, because the one time they did have a West zone, it wasn't great for them. So we're sort of looking at different teams up there for different reasons as well. And even sort of further on down the leaderboard, excited to see see that sort of section as well as see how that develops when we look at that top 20.
Can I say it's really nice to see Thomas back in duos and back on form as well, because I feel like we're getting the Thomas that we know and love and provides so many exciting moments. And I feel like we missed out on that last year. So I'm going to savor these last 5 games and see what all the players here in Europe can bring us as we head back to Taco and Takata.
Thank you, Frankie. Look, Thomas HD and Focus were not the only ones that had over 10 eliminations coming from the west side of zone with that east pull in the last match. Nebs, Nathan as well. But I want to keep my eyes on Shark and Teeny. They're in 14th now. Going into that game, they were 21st. They've jumped up to 14th. We weren't seeing them play as confident against Huddy and Fishy. Huddy Fishy did go down without getting not many points at all. And the thing is, Shark Teeny don't only want to prove themselves with the performances leading into these major finals, but they want to make sure that Huddy and Fishy do not make it to the Summit 1. The issue is, Taco, they have to confirm their spot themselves first.
I just love that they keep playing leapfrog with the placements on the leaderboard, but right now we'll happen to wait to see what Game 8 has in store. And as you can expect, Takata, that fight over by Wonky, it is still going to be a very open-ended conversation, but there has been a lot of shuffling taking place around the map. We're getting a nice little overview, checking in. Swizzy, Pixie, Truly, Gunzo. Nobody would have anticipated this to be so heavily against Swizzy and Pixie, but they're looking to restore honor in their name. Truly, though, going to be able to strike back. It's a 1-for-1 exchange, elimination ring out. Swizzy has the Iron Pump, though, just looking to try and chase down Truly, but you have to imagine this is only going to draw another third-party intervention soon enough. Swizzy just trying to track down this final elimination as quickly as possible. He knows the clock is working against him. He knows Ijo, Keto, they might be hot on the trail here, already trying to take the teleporter to cut them off in those tunnels, and Truly, he's got weapons, but that's about it. He needs some shield. The HP department, so much more heavily in Swizzy's favor, trying to see if he can get an overhead view, but neither of these solos has very much material to work with, and that's the biggest reason why it's at such a standstill.
You were alluding to it earlier too. This is just the first part of the battle. Even if either player here comes out on top, there still could be more rotating in through the portals down below. So Swizzy knows that this fight has to be ended quickly, and now's the chance to do it. First shot connects, one more needed, as Truly is put into panic. Swizzy 170 effective HP, and is going to actually not connect that shot, and this fight is just continuing to stagger. You can see in the mini-map bottom right, there's already another team close by.
Truly just going to use that overdrive effect, but Swizzy is ready to collapse, and he finally connects the final shot. Swizzy and Pixie have technically come out on top, but it might be a short-lived victory because Keto, Hijo, they're already paced up in those tunnels. So even after getting the reboot off onto Pixie, it's only a matter of time before they have to contend with the duo that's directly underneath them.
Looking back at Wonky Land, we saw a slow start to the match in Game 7. I think it was third zone Taco. They were still here, farming, kind of shooting back and forth. I don't even know which zone they ended up rotating in, but I mean, they do have the Wonky wheel. Teeny Shark now, though, they really want to be able to close this fight off quicker.
Teeny also just trying to bait out this chest. Huddy, Fishy, though, fully aware of the fact that their opponents are very likely just slinking around Wonky Land, waiting for the perfect ambush. But Teeny, gotta be very cautious here because it's still a 2 versus 1, technically speaking. Shark can provide some support, but he's gotta be quick with it. Doesn't want to leave his teammate Teeny out by himself for too long, especially knowing that Twek is lingering too. But Nebs, Nathan, Humble Hills has been very active since the secondary half of yesterday, and they've actually been eliminated. The surprise contest, not so much a surprise here in day 2 after all, but it's just a matter of fact that another leaderboard team taken out very early on.
They had such a big game too, 11 eliminations, 2nd place. What a devastating finish. We'll see if they can come back from that now. Chino Pablo, on the other hand, had quite a nice start to the day, and also looking, as it seems, start to the match with a quick elimination.
Alice over there, the overdrive grenade pump finish, but Swizzy loses Pixie one more time. The reboot did draw that extra company that was waiting underneath. Hydro, though, sent him to not a total panic, but it is a bit awkward here now, because you would have anticipated that they would have been in a much more favorable spot to try and take out both Swizzy and Pixie simultaneously. Instead, Swizzy, he's just playing like this is everything, because it is when you think about it. They have such a daunting day ahead of them, Takada. They need so many points if they want to even try and consider top 20. So these eliminations that Swizzy's able to collect, they're going to need so many more of them, along with some strong placements. I don't want to call it impossible, because we've seen crazy things happen before in set lobby finals, but it is just such an uphill battle for those two to try and make it back for the LAN contention.
It's about like 50 points a game-ish. I mean, Levin was speaking about it. We said the estimate's 250 to 300 points, 5 end games, but what we mean by an end game, it's a top 5 with 4 eliminations. So getting that 5 out of 6 games today, well, I mean, we already had game 1, so they've already kind of got to step it up a little bit, but a long road ahead of them for Sky and Scroll on the other end. They've already continued with the consistency. The only thing that can danger them is if the other duos in the kind of top 3 range continue to get very high elimination matches, but it's just going to be so difficult to beat Sky and Scroll's consistency.
I'm just not over the fact of thinking that when the Major 1 Summit LAN does happen in Dusseldorf, that there is a very realistic possibility we're not going to see anyone from our global championship trio participate in it. It is heartbreaking to an extent, especially for, obviously, you know, the global championship individuals, but a new era in EU, that's for sure. Focus, Thomas, they're just trying to see if they can replicate some of that Game 7 success. They're going to need those types of games to stack up here. They want to see if they can overthrow Sky and Scroll after their Game 1 performances yesterday.
Pico Malabuca, they found some eliminations on the Huddy Fishy in the last match when they rotated through. They've already kicked it off with 2 as well. They dropped down 2 placements on the leaderboard after game 1, but they're still in a comfortable position. 5 matches left to close out these major finals.
Stary lurking. Not gonna give away his position just yet. Doesn't have, typically you would want to see the set duo go for that 3-2-1 beam. Might not have felt as confident in being able to bring down Thomas if it's only him sending those shots forward. Adapted, also gonna continue, try and wrap around here, meet up with Dexterity, but the opportunity might have just missed them, and now Twek might even be able to get overhead. Look back though into what Sky and Scroll are getting up to. It's not just the surge base, it's eliminations, and that is a very big blow to achieve, by the way. I mean, Sky and Scroll are doing everything in their power to control their own destiny at this point.
They really are. I mean, see how far they've come so far, and I want to see them, you know, they have no FNCS finals titles, not only win an FNCS, but also continue forwards into the Summit 1 LAN at Dusseldorf.
I know a comment that Minnie made earlier before we even kicked off the day is that when he was going through some of the replays here with Sky and Scroll, one thing that they definitely love to do is commit to these Storm-sided plays where they'll spend a decent amount of time in Storm, really not getting a move on until 4th or 5th zone. And I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's been working out for them wonderfully, and so they're able to still just keep tabs of their surge, there's no reason for them to try and thwart themselves in the process. Skyjump and Momsy just trying to see what's going to be the catalyst for their performance here today. But they know that they've really got to try and find their rhythm soon enough. Everybody wants to make sure that they are at least within that top 20 on the leaderboard for the Summit land qual.
Mini Miner brought it up. Saya Scary, their worst match coming from their best performance in all their time playing Fortnite. I'm just hoping we see a strong mental from them now and see them continue like we saw them yesterday. I mean, the pressure is on them. We don't want to see them drop down. Thomas and Focus, though, they keep up the way they started today, we can quickly see them pushing up that top 3. And so far, it's looking like they're going to continue.
Hey, even if the zones aren't in their favor, they've clearly got other intentions for how to get the job done. Nice elimination there. Set them up 5-5-5, moving into the next couple of zones. Surefour and Repairs, though, looking much more like a dark horse contender for this weekend, Takada. Especially after finding that Victor Royale in the last match. They've definitely set themselves into a pretty solid position here for the leaderboard overall. Now it's just about making sure that they continue to build on some of the points that they started to sort of gather up in that Game 7. Size and Scary, though, like to see them still being a little bit more reserved, switching things up. You know, maybe you came out a little bit too hot off the gate, right? A little too excited for Game 7. Realize, okay, well, maybe we can get fraggy, but, you know, maybe the off spawn surprise con it isn't exactly where we want to hedge our bets. So I like that they're just opting to fall back a little bit here. Sky Scroll, though, they're ready to make their move. It's going to be a dead side zone approach.
They'll do their thing as we are still in Wonky Land. Sharktini. No elims on the board, you can see. It's been pretty peaceful here. As I think they're gonna decide to finally make their rotate come through. I was mentioning in the last game, Wonky is one of the POIs where you do have a bit of help in terms of rotating out with that Wonky wheel, but I'm looking to see a big game from Sharktini. I mean, you talked about Wonky Land being a splittable POI. We know they don't want to do it, but it seems like their focus right now is just kind of cementing themselves a good spot on the leaderboard before they start playing like we've seen them play throughout the season.
Sharktini actually cutting across over to Frozen Shard. Skyjump Mumsy steering the buy, but take the rift. They're not going to wait. Other intentions aside from the wheel. Wonder if they even knew that Shakos and Tilio were actually waiting at the bottom of that Wonky Land wheel. Maybe that was a concern for them, that they didn't want to get tagged up. So they were going for that deeper rotation. But right now, Yapko, Panzer. Hopefully this time, there's nobody to play spoiler to their position. But that's part of the dangers that always occur, I think, in a set lobby finals, where you know that there's going to be more than one team that starts to get a little bit desperate for their surge when they're underneath that threshold.
Just to see how Thomas and Focus are looking now. And so far, they don't want to do anything too risky. Just trying to kind of stay ahead of the zone here. Let it pull towards them. In terms of damage, looks like they're sitting quite comfortably. I do see Kamihari close by. A lot of them kicking off yesterday, but today, seen nothing so far.
So there's a lot of action taking place underneath Thomas and Focus. Faded and Khan. A handful of other teams kind of sandwiched between where Thomas Focus are at and Kamihari. One of those big duos is bound to get involved soon enough here. Sharktini, 81 above right now. Both with a couple of eliminations, right? 2 for the pairing. So they were able to find something after they left Frozen Shard. Just Wonder who it was that they actually managed to sort of sneak up on. But they'll make their way into this next edge of zone. They're going to stick to the lower end. Do have a chance to look back now, and it's Momsy and Skyjump after all. The intentions behind that Frozen Shard play was likely just to cut off the Frenchies, and that is a tough blow for Skyjump and Momsy.
Yeah. On the contrary, though, Charcantini getting more and more set up for this late Beamish Storm, 2 elims on the board. I wonder if it was from their kind of mix-up off spawn strategy, but either way, they've been continuing the momentum from yesterday. They had a rough start to day 1. They ended with a big match, and now going into day 2, they're continuing their success. They actually did take out Ifrazi and Azat in the early game, so showing the dominance from previous drops they've kind of had throughout this tournament.
Also just making it very clear that if they've marked somewhere, they likely have intentions to visit it eventually. And for Azat and Ifrazi, while they defended it one time, Fourfields is going to continue to be, I think, a pretty big point of contention for the remainder of our matches here today. But the lobby starting to close in. Teams, some kind of scattered around the outskirts of the zone, all different directions, but you can see those surges lighting up. Handful of different teams here now. Malibuca and Vico. While we didn't necessarily get to see too many overviews from their performances yesterday, one thing's for sure, Vico was definitely getting very active with dealing damage.
Whoa.
But Thomas, he's just sent wiggling around inside of his own box. Him and Focus incredibly low. Part of the problem too, when we last saw them kind of tanking up those ticks of storm, they didn't have much white heals. They really only had splashes and a single chug jug. So now they've really got to depend on finding a refresh here. But Focus very low on his shields. Thomas maybe going to be able to take over the leading charge there for aggression. Malibuca Vico, on the other hand, just trying to apply some pressure, prevent any other teams from kind of encroaching on their position. They know there's at least 1 or 2 duos hurting nearby, but not enough for them to get a move on just yet.
Yeah, they also pulled quite literally the furthest zone they could here. Charcantini, on the contrary, the perfect pull. They're capitalizing on it. Swizzy, Pixie as well. They actually got 48 points in the last match. We said they need 50 points a game if they want to make it to Dusseldorf. Seeing them in the end game, both with HP, I've got faith.
This might be best case scenario too for Malibuca and Vico. All those duos that just sent themselves scattering forward. Yapko, Panzer in a heavy world of hurt right now. Panzer just trying to outlast it with this chug jug. Focus, the only one left standing right now between himself and Thomas. As a solo, he's at least got the Mythic Pump to work with. His only form of ability, though, a singular overdrive grenade, and he's 240 below. He has to find a shot. He has to do it now. Panzer won't be able to connect. He's going to be cleared out of the lobby. But Focus, all eyes on you currently. Chat, Flixie, just behind him. He's going to opt to try, see if he can will his way forward. Only 4 more players, and he might be saved. But you never want to leave it up to the rest of the lobby. But Malibuca, Vico, I thought it'd be beneficial, them being ahead of the rest of the pack, scattering in towards their direction. Instead, it looks like they've been overwhelmed. Now they're sitting underneath the surge threshold. Malibuca has to find a big pump shot to connect. Otherwise, the surge ticks will take him out entirely. Him and Focus both just trying to see who's going to be the first to find that opening blow. But Focus, Mali, saved by the players in the lobby, eliminating themselves essentially. Surge won't work against them, but they are still in a dire situation. Both of these teams fighting for their placements on the leaderboard. They've got positions to defend, but it's Malibuca taken out by Focus. Siphon just in the nick of time. That is still the worst case scenario here now, though, for Mali. So you have to wait, see what happens next.
Wow. What a way to go down for Thomas HD2. This just shows that even the best of the best in EU are struggling with this net surge, forcing themselves in situations where they have to take those risks. Sayas now is actually left alone despite that elimination on Thomas HD, and both Honey Fishy and Shartini are second height and full height from Wonky Land to the end game. This battle, it never ends.
But Shark and Teeny, Huddy, Fishy, neither of them really seemed all that set in terms of material. Huddy, Fishy, they might have the high ground for the time being, but with the way that the zone is pulling over a little bit of elevation shifts, they might have to layer transition eventually. They're gonna need to drop here. Saez tried to go up, but that elevation shift brings him down instead. Shark, big blow against Sky there. Gonna keep him incredibly low, and now Teeny's ready to go up. Couple of opening tags there onto Huddy and Fishy, and Huddy's been dropped. Shark gets credit for it. Fishy all by his lonesome. He'll be forced to try and escape, but he's not gonna get away. Not this time. Shark and Teeny have total control of the high ground.
This is what we've been waiting for. Shark Teeny, they couldn't close out the fight in Wonky Land, but now in the late game, not only have they overthrown height, it's against the team that's contesting them. They do not want to give them a shot at the Major 1 LAN. Chino trying to do what he can to clutch up. Sky Scroll continue on the low ground. They got to be careful, though. A refresh comes through, and now the rotation continues forwards.
But Sky and Scroll, they are more than comfortable here in the lower layers. We saw how fruitful it was for them in yesterday's performance. They did a great job at just controlling the low ground. Anybody that was trying to layer swap last second always had to deal with them, and Chino left by himself. Pablo left behind. Chino trying to do what he can to connect some additional tags here. Siphon would go a long way for him. He's gonna send himself straight towards the front side, low. Swizzy also trying to see if he can make it happen. He's been clawing his way through this match since the beginning, Takada. The fact that he's still standing as a solo is impressive enough as is. But Chino, very similar position, utilizing the building space now. On the other side of the wall, Pears gets the first shot. They were both waiting to connect and Scroll. Sky, this is their best opportunity now to continue trying to extend their lead, but Sky gets put down. Repairs waiting in the wings. They are so ready to overtake these teams on the leaderboard, but you gotta make sure that you're looking every direction here because teams sneaking up just behind, and it's Shark, it's Teeny. We lost sight of them on the high ground, but they didn't lose sight of the players in the lobby. They're bringing this one home.
This is what we've been waiting for. 12 eliminations for Shark and Teeny. Frankie, Levin, Minnie, I know you're gonna have smiles on your face.
There has been a revenge narrative all weekend between Shark and Teeny and Hutty and Fishy X at Wonky Land, and we thought that this one was
guys keep getting deep into these end games, and in many cases now as well, are going to be out fragging you in these end games as well, right? This game was a second place 8 LM game where, you know, what do you do to catch up? I mean, it's so difficult. They just really have a lock on the low ground. Nobody seems to be able to play it better than them right now in EU, and I don't see that changing in the next 4 games.
It's really nice to see them playing the low ground so well as well. It's nice to see a team have an identity. I feel like it's not something that we've associated with teams necessarily previously as much, or at least not as obviously as we can see right here with Sky and Scroll. And you're absolutely right. I mean, it's so difficult to catch up to them because they're just covering all bases so well. They're finding eliminations whilst being super consistent. And for teams that are trying to catch them up, Chino and Pablo, Focus and Thomas HD, what do you actually do? Of course, weren't able to win this game, but again, another unfavorable zone. Maybe our hair will be grey by the time we get a West zone this weekend, but it's just going to be unstoppable for them. And they've nearly sort of brought back that sort of 90-point gap as well. What is that? Is that like 80 points? Unbelievable right now.
Yeah, it's absolutely unbelievable from these guys. It's 82 points, I believe, if I've done the maths right. So it is a stunning performance from these guys. And the thing is, sometimes with Joes, we'd be questioning, we'd be going, well, are they able to maintain this lead? But with Sky and Scroll, it's almost guaranteed that they're going to increase it. But it's not guaranteed for Pablo and Chino that they are going to be able to maintain the distance between second and third mini-minor.
Yeah, they've still been doing very good though. I mean, it's a nice end game for them. They managed to pick up a couple of eliminations here as well. Again, the zone right on their drop spot at Sandy's strip, of course. But this is exactly what we expect to see from these guys, taking advantage of these zones. Because yes, I'm sure we will get a different sort of zone soon, but they need to make the most of it when they're still getting the zones right now, and they did so very well here.
Yeah, I mean, somebody clearly out there really wants us to have a close finish here in some degree, right? Because these guys are going to continue to get those beneficial zones, but they play them well. And so I know people will banter them and say, oh, you guys had all the zones, whatever. They're playing them well. There's other players who are getting favorable zones, ain't doing anything similar to what these guys are able to produce.
And Sure4 and Repairs, it almost looked like they were going to reproduce a victory royale, Nevin. I'm so impressed by the way that these guys are stepping things up on day 2.
Absolutely. Again, the theme of this season has been what? It's been these newer names, these newer talents, people who you maybe weren't expecting to pop off and showcase what they can do. And I think these guys exemplify that excellently, right? This moment here between Chino and Repairs, it was like, who's going to get the jump? You usually expect the person with the right-hand peak there to win, but Repairs, again, showcasing just why they have been so formidable across these 2 days so far. I'm very excited. Again, I'm very excited to see, sort of what the limit is for these guys. At the end of the day, we're going to expect to see these guys at this point now make it to the Summit land. Will they be able to replicate this performance and surprise some of the best players in other regions over the course of those games?
Well, listen, it's time for Legends Watch because Swizzy and Pixie, they made it to a couple of endgames now back-to-back. The question is, were they good enough endgames to move them substantially up the leaderboard? They've not made it into the top 20 yet, but on page 3, you can see them there up a whopping 14 places, 25. Now, Düsseldorf is looking like a reality, Levin.
Yes, and this is the thing. When you have elite players, and that's what these guys are, regardless of what we saw yesterday, when you have elite players, you can't count them out. I love the approach they've taken to today's off spawns mini, where yesterday they lost a couple of spawns, at Dark Dominion, and so they decided, okay, we're gonna just try and split it, and then that's where they ran into more problems. Today, they've just been taking the fight off spawn. They're just like, no, we're gonna fight you guys. We're gonna take the fight, truly Gonzo, whatever you guys wanna do, we will fight you, no problems asked. They've been winning the fights, even in that last game, right? They ended up with what? A really good game. Where the start of the game was actually rough because they have to reboot Pixie. Then when Pixie gets rebooted, other teams come in, third party them. Pixie goes down again. He gets rebooted again, and they're still able to have a good game. And so that shows you that they've come into today completely changed, completely renewed, and they're going to be a threat for the rest of the day.
Levin, who's coaching these guys at the moment?
Not sure, can't remember.
They need like a motivational voice in their ear to remind them they are literally the #1 and #2 placing players at the Global Championships from last year. Because mini-minors, sometimes I'm thinking maybe it's just their confidence that's not there. They just need a reminder of the fact that they're 2 of the best fraggers in Europe.
Yeah, potentially. I think day one yesterday was a big shock to them. And what I've always said in Fortnite is the best teams will play well on day one, but the better teams will VOD and do even better on day two. And that's what these guys are sort of epitomizing right now. You can see them. They went back in replays last night. They looked at what went wrong. They didn't try to change too much on day one. They tried to stick to their guns. Didn't work out now. Today, things have shifted. They're changing up their game plan. And I'm looking at their placements, 8th and then a 4th. They didn't get a top 10 yesterday. Not just that, they didn't get a top 35 yesterday. Their best placement was a 35th. So it's like they completely flipped the script on what they were performing like, and now they're in 25th. So that's going to be huge for them, hopefully qualifying here through here.
I'd like to say the only way is up, but nothing is guaranteed in Fortnite. Let's head over to Taco and Takata for game number 9.
Look, Swizzy and Pixie knew that they were in for a grueling battle here today, Takata, but it is their last chance to try and overcome the odds and see if they can put themselves into a position where they are just inside of that top 20 qual metric for the Major 1 Summit LAN.
Yep, game 1, they got 48 points. Game 2, they got 76 points. And what they needed today was an average of 50 points every single game. Now, if they get very big point games, obviously that average can go down. Having a 76-point game in the 8th match, I'm liking how things are looking, but it can change depending on how that off spawn goes. But for Shark and Teeny, it is looking brighter and brighter. A massive win, 12 eliminations. Let's see if that changes the confidence for them in the early game. The next game, number 9, is ready to go.
And just general overview right now. You can see the bus path transcending downwards. Wonky Land. While we haven't seen that immediate 50-50 off spawn so far here today, with Shark and Teeny's last victory royale in game number 8, it would not surprise me in the slightest to see them maybe offer a little bit more aggression earlier on, but for right now, northern directions for Teeny. He's actually opted to take control of this like little castle area just north of the BOI, and Shark also a little bit deeper north. Maybe their concern is, we saw Twet kind of poking his head on over from Wonky from Toy Box Talk, so that could be a big part of the reason why. But Swizzy, 1 elimination already, and we get a chance to revisit what went wrong here for Truly. Just a really proactive elim there out of Swizzy, and like the desk already touched on, they just decided, you know what, it's our turn to actually just start throwing punches. And I feel like for Truly and Gonzo, they're just like, wait, hold up, time out. When did you guys start punching back?
Yeah, it's already 4 teams though at Dark Dominion, so we'll see how it continues as Nebs and Nathan had a very big game to kick off the day, but then fell short in the next match, 47th place, and now we're here. Game 9, 3rd match of the day, and Nebs and Nathan once again back to back, getting eliminated off spawn, coming from an 11 elimination second. This is not what you want to see, but something you do like seeing. It's Shark Teeny playing aggressive. Huddy Fishy have to lock in here.
But right now, Huddy and Fishy do have a little bit better control over the vending machines, but for how long can they actually keep Shark and Teeny out? Huddy looking to see if he can break some of their walls from a different angle. Fishy does get a nice shot onto Shark. That's going to drop him incredibly low. Shark will have to wait and see. Fortunately, they do have splashes to work with. Teeny also, I believe he just split some of his mats there. So Huddy, Fishy, trying to gather up whatever else they might be able to use here to put themselves into a winning position. But Shark Teeny, you can tell just how hungry they are for this exchange. They want to wipe out Huddy and Fishy, and they might be able to do it. Huddy, though, doing a great job pulling back Fishy, actually forcing Shark to wait. Despite taking a big chunk out of Huddy's HP, he's not going to be able to close in fully just because of the backup from Fishy. But I might have spoken too soon. Teeny with a different angle. He brings down Huddy, who was already so incredibly low. Now it's all about collapsing onto Fishy, but Fishy making sure it's not easy. It doesn't matter though. Jaws theme song in real life here. Shark and Teeny kicking Huddy and Fishy back to the battle bus. They were already in 19th place heading into this leaderboard, and that's bound to drop even further outside of that land qual.
Instant change in confidence coming through that win. You could tell it was looking a little iffy Starting off the day of them being outside of qualifying range to Dusseldorf, they quickly pushed themselves up at the top 15, and now after that win, they are back in business. This is the Sharkantini we were expecting in the major finals after an underperformance in day one. Now they're back in action. Huddy Fishy actually completely ran out of mats in that engagement, so they were constantly applying pressure. Pablo and Chino now, they are still in second place. They've gotten top 10 in every match today, but we know that they want that first place.
Of course, hungry for yet another FNCS title. Chino and Pablo. They're gonna set up. They've got a line of sight onto Aza and Ifrozi. They are gonna take their opportunity to get at least one tag in, but there is, of course, always action taking place elsewhere on the map. And Zany, look at this setup. Hydro and Keto just shut down. They've been lords of the tunnels for the most part, hanging out by North Dominion and other teams. When they hit those VODs, when they hit the replays, Takata, they're bound to catch wind of what's actually taking place and do their own sort of ambush maneuvers. And that's exactly the kind of thing that I think even the most experienced teams would still struggle with here today.
Scary place to be in. Swizzy and Pixie felt it firsthand yesterday, but going a lot better today. Thomas HC and Focus. It wasn't a terrible match, but it wasn't what they needed to get what they truly want. The first place finish, 15th to Elims. Now here in the 9th match, I believe it was a mix of kind of a rotate where Thomas got caught off guard by Sayaz, and then also just being a little low on Surge. It's just so difficult when even the most experienced players in the lobby cannot handle this net Surge.
Big contributing factor to that is just knowing every single duo out here is trying to reevaluate, figure out what sort of strategy do we need to do to put ourselves in the best position to be above that Surge metric. Vico Malabuca. Well, we have seen glimpses of greatness from this duo. For the most part, it has been relatively quiet. They've done a decent job at least remaining inside of that top 10 portion of the leaderboard, but it's just one of those instances where you're kind of just waiting for like the what next factor. You're waiting to see the big pop off really from that team.
Moneymaker for 9. Sit in 31st right now. I mean, 128 points. They're actually not too far from top 20. They would need a big game. But these early game fights, they mean so much. You just cannot go down here.
Faded and Khan.
Blostar on Latin de Gracias.
Not sure if the intention was to go for an ambush here against Eyedrop and Medius, but Eyedrop and Medius have been pretty much uncon at Latte this entire series so far. And after the day one performance didn't exactly go how they would have pictured it or preferred it to, I'm almost much more inclined to believe that there's going to be duos like Faded and Khan and whatnot that opt to maybe try and throw themselves into Latte's potential area to contest. Demish Darm, though, doing more of the same of what they've been after. Started the first couple of lobbies here today, checking out the eastern section of the map, and now they're back out west. Pretty familiar sightseeing, though, for these two, given that their original starting point had been Tip Top Terrace once upon a time before the map shifted a bit, and now without a set drop, they're really just, I wouldn't call them scavengers, because I do think that they do a pretty solid job at cleaning up the teams that they fight and extending their own positions for rotations and whatnot in a game. But it is scary when you have a team that's just vaguely rolling around the map and you're not really sure where they're going to be next.
I'm kind of wondering why they switched, though. They got 5th place, 8 Elims in the last match, 6 Elims, 15th in the match before that. Like, it's not like it was going too bad against Zot and Ifrozi, but you know, they're just continuing with their rhythm, so we'll see how it does play out. I mean, they're both up right now, so it didn't go terribly wrong either. Kamihari, very rough start the day. Currently in 18th place. They've went down 29th, 25th. Not the matches that you would have liked to see from this duo. We saw them have some pretty big ones yesterday, so hopefully they can make a change here.
No rally and reason, another one of our duos though. All day yesterday, they were having to deal with a pretty set 50-50 all-spawn fight. But the scenes have shifted a bit for this duo here today. It's one thing though to make it to the end game, it's another to convert that end game into a performance that would net you points inside of the leaderboard for that top 20 position at Summit 1 LAN. Tilio and Shakos though, I don't think they know what's coming next. This is starting to get real spooky. Darm and Deemish, very content right now over by Tree Chop Timbermill. They're healing up. Got the vending machines. Afford to expend a little bit more time here, but Shakos and Tilio will catch wind of this duo the moment that they mosey on.
Oye, basura. La basura. Basura. Ay, qué linda. Mira, no te escucho ni estaba hablando. Ah, dame un break para ti, ya sé por qué no te escucho.
Manzana.
Ahora. Ay, qué linda nos vemos.
Bye.
Estamos tan preciosos. Estaba viendo el torneo ese. Mira, estaba viendo que ayer descalificaron a Buga.
Mira, ¿por qué? ¿Trampa?
Es que. No, y sí.
Ok, ¿cómo así?
Ok, cuando ellos juegan en computadora, sabes que ellos tienen muchas cosas puestas para los streaming y mierda. No sé
Ajá.
muy bien, pero parece que tiene un software que hace algo. Pero no estaba prohibido.
Ya.
Pero es para verlo o algo, no creo que sea para trampa. Creo, no sé, no leí muy bien. Pero lo descalificaron. Pero ya lo quitaron, ya lo volvieron a poner, pero no puede jugar. Porque ya se acabó el de eso, ayer. Pero de ahora en adelante van a quitar eso. Es que no entiendo por qué ponen tanta mierda en sus cosas si sabes que te van a banear.
Ujú.
Y es un torneo. Y si banean a Buga, banean a cualquiera. A mí me da
Después
como-
me dice que son, después me dice que son buenos, por favor. De
es que
verdad.
no dice exactamente para qué era. No sé si era para algo para el stream o algo así. Pero lo vi esta mañanita.
Ya. Dame, perdón, break, bro.
Estoy buscando cositas aquí todavía. Ya.
Voy.
No, yo estoy orando. Pasado. Y el que va a jugar. Hace 1000 años que no juego.
Edu casi no juega Fortnite,
Ah, tú que. El cabrón pone los likes. Duran 3 segundos.
Sí.
Duran 3 segundos el like. Cabrón.
¿Tú qué es eso? Lo que ni baja eso. Ya está. Estamos ready.
Uy, capitán.
Vamos a esto. Vamos allá.
Es único que se ve bien cabrón ahorita.
Sí.
No te muevas. Para acercar la pantalla,
Mala mía.
Tiene una estrella en los ojos. La gerente los otros días tenía algo en la cara, un barrito o algo así.
Ah.
Yo le hice una estrella. Veo acá, paisa, le en la cara.
Dejo que estás dándome, cabrón. Vamos a esto.
No sé si comprar el baile o la
Dímelo.
¿Estás en TikTok?
¿Qué baile?
El de
Hey.
Miku. Porque como yo no lo voy a escuchar nunca, pero quiero comprarlo para tenerlo.
Exacto.
Porque tú sabes, yo no entiendo, aquí deberían darme break. Porque no es como que yo lo estoy usando para aprovechándome de la música.
Es simplemente algo que está en el juego, loco.
Por eso, pero no lo puedo usar porque me salen 25.000 copyright.
Sí.
¿Qué es el glider? ¿Qué es eso? ¿Una ala?
Una ala ahí.
Eso no es, cabrón. Mira aquí pisa.
Bueno, combo, dímelo.
Ay, me dijiste que estás en TikTok, ¿verdad?
Hey.
Hombre, voy a buscar el teléfono.
En el de gaming, no en el normal.
Ay, que alguno me va a salir. Si no me sale, pues te jodiste. Fíjate, la notificación no me sale. No sé por qué.
Pues a tiempo no hago nada.
¿Ves? Sale aquí.
Dímelo, gente de TikTok. YouTube, ¿para está bien caliente, loco?
Hola.
Hey.
Pasen por mi YouTube.
Blostar Game.
Hasta aquí. Espérate, déjame darte puntito por ahí. Déjame darte dedo. Te estoy dando dedo, papi.
Gracias.
Muchos dedos te estoy dando.
Ahora dímelo, corillo de TikTok, dejando ese tiki tiki por ahí, por favor.
Yo me escucho, denle dedo, denle dedo.
Supone que te escuche.
Dándole dedo. Es que yo tengo el sobajo, el teléfono. Viene dándole dedo.
Gracias por decirme que estamos en contra. Me acabo de enterar.
¿Sabes que yo juego contra un pa?
Tengo que arreglar mi
Mira, la
de esto.
se conectó.
Ahora me fue la imagen, coño.
Se conectó la chicha. Vi que decía
¿La
la chicha? Eso decía ahí, la chicha.
Y a la chicha llegó.
Ya te,
Ten cuidado.
ya te di dedo, ya voy a jugar.
Vamos allá.
Ya me canso de darte dedo.
¿Qué puñeta está esto? Ahí. ¿Dónde está?
Mira, ahí te dijeron algo, que le añadas a So King, no sé, algo así.
Me llamo Pochaco. Si te aparecen dos, añada los dos.
Pochaco.
Dale, Pochaco, está todo.
Embuste.
Yo añado a todo el mundo, yo soy así.
Embuste. Añádeme en YouTube, Pochaco. Blostar Game.
Pochaco, busca Blostar Game en YouTube.
Y gasta tu dinero en mi código blostar.
Código Blostar en la tienda. ¡Ay, la tormenta en la tienda!
Vente, pégate conmigo. Dale. Ay, yo salí para otro lado.
Ah, estamos aquí.
Gente.
Muerto.
Viene otro.
¿Viene el otro?
Lo tengo.
Bien.
¿Cómo en medio?
Las waifus matando.
Y... bien varonito.
Ay, ya la madre.
Es que las mujeres, las skins de mujeres se ven más cabronas.
Se ven más cabrón y son más flacas.
Viste, estos a romper siempre me encantan, man. Ven cabrón.
Esta violeta.
Tú cállate, nadie te preguntó monstruito.
Uy, mira la mochilita que no la viste ayer, bro.
Hasta donde. ¡Ah! ¡Qué lindo! Son como. Parecen dos cohetitos, ¿verdad?
Hey.
Una mochilín.
Ah, ¿dónde es? A ver la pinche zona. Mira, tengo el coso este de tirar las tirolesas. Te voy a buscar en la guagua, bro.
A ver.
Guagua del año.
Que te sale el traje por la parte de abajo del carro.
No.
Tienes un boquete. Tienes un boquete en el carro.
Esto es como el carro de los picapiedras.
todo, ahora está bien, está para...
Voy a seguirlo para el círculo, ¿viste? Oye, Pisaplaneta no te defrauda. El tiro. ¿Vas para allá o no?
No, para el círculo. Cuidado con la piedra.
No seguí al corillo. ¿Dónde voy, Blo? Dime. Viene gente volando, Blo, para acá, para el puesto.
Y hay gente.
Está aquí. Ñangotó, pero está cerca, no lo veo.
Sí, vi la huellita, pero no sé dónde está.
Pero detrás de los arbustos que no veo. No, detrás de la piedra. Está por aquí, está cerca porque lo escucho cambiando de pistola. Está aquí, viste, en el arbusto.
Sí. Tiene gente.
¡Ah, quién me dio! ¿De dónde? Ah, si están campeando los otros, mira. Llegaron. Ah, no, eso no tiene nada que ver. Diablo, bro. Bajé por de ti, se envolvieron con otra gente.
No. Espérate, que te muevas.
Ay, no.
No te muevas tanto que te den.
Cayó aquí.
Lo tumbé.
Bien.
En el techo. Está blanco aquí. Se cayó.
Para allá. Buena. Cuidado que están por ahí. Cuidado.
Estoy bien tocado. El otro está acá.
Ay, tengo gente de espalda, puñeta. Estamos jodidos, estamos pillados aquí. Ay, sea la madre. Ah. comiendo pizza.
Llegó uno de los mundos de repente.
Oye, que queda el Billy, cabrón. El Carlos que hace está escondido, no se va nada. Ahora viste el Billy. Ahora ahí. ¿Te va a ver? No. ¿Y revivió?
Sí.
Yo tú me voy porque van a venir para ahí mismo.
Sí, hay uno aquí.
Coge el carro.
Vale.
Bien muerto, combo. Dímelo, gente de TikTok. Denle ese tiki tiki por ahí. Y a diablo.
El muñequito. El muñequito de cabrón.
Está cabrón, no se van los cabrones.
Ah, pero tú también estás en YouTube.
Hey,
Coño, multi-streaming. Coño, no puedo, no tengo más teléfono, bro.
bueno, yo lo hago del mismo. Lo que pasa es
Sí,
que yo lo que
pero-
estoy haciendo es compartiendo la pantalla.
Zángano, yo lo sé, pero yo digo para verte.
Ah,
Idiota. Oye, espérate, yo pongo papi, el iPhone 7. Aquí estoy.
yo me morí.
Déjame darte like. Papi, dile a los de TikTok que entren a YouTube y te den like. Tiene más que uno, el mío ahora.
Sí, lo sé. Si o sea la madre, puñeta.
Pero no te enojes.
Digo, estos tipos me la janguean en la tormenta y la vida la vida no les quita tanto, yo no sé, ellos tienen más vida que nosotros.
¿Sabes?
Y a este yo lo había matado, a la cajita esa. El Billy ese no falla, papá. Toma. Gracias, gracias por esos tiki tiki. Sigan, sigan, sigan. Vamos a llegar a 1000, vamos a llegar a 1000. Loco, apaga eso. Soy acá. Muerto, coño.
Dame.
No. Papi, marca tú, acuérdate que me cambiaron todo esto. Vamos allá. Pero loco, eso se oye acá, mano. Hello. Bro, que eso se oye acá. Ya no llego, puñeta, déjame caer aquí. Me quedé a pique.
Son una pantalla, son una pantalla, eso no estaba ahí los otros días, ¿verdad que no? No, pues lo he visto eso. Ah, son
Hay
barcos
una pantalla por ahí que están haciendo como que el cinecito otra vez. ¿Qué sitio es?
en la playa. Sí, pero que aquí hay algo, pensé que era una pantalla, pero es como un barco, la vez.
Ya me morí, cabrón. Dios mío, cabrón. De verdad que, cabrón.
Epa,
La andié bien malo, bro. Así no puedo, de verdad.
pues arregla todo. Cuando terminemos este juego, arregla todo eso, bro.
Papi, es que lo arreglo y no me sale, no sé, los botones no se ponen.
Mira, ponle un código a ese PlayStation para que nadie lo toque cuando tú ya.
No, me mató un bot. Me mató un bot, cabrón. Sí.
Eso quiere decir que el bot eres tú.
Y esta gente están hablando de que para conectarse. ¿Dónde están?
Jugó un ratito y se fue.
Basura.
Cabrón, cuando no tiene
Eso no lo puedes editar, loco.
que no quiere entrar por la ventana.
Ah, sí, a mí me encabrona eso. Ahí tienes tu... Los doblos. Míralo ahí. ¡Y a diablo! ¡Diablo! ¿Qué fue eso? ¿Un escopetazo desde allá tanto? Muchacho, olvídate de eso, cabrón. Es que increíble. Es una ridiculez. Ay. Cabrón, ese escopetazo fue malísimo. ¿Y te quitó qué? ¿100 y pico?
Cojón.
De ahí para atrás. Yo no sé ni por qué me quitaron el mapa. Eso me encojona.
Ahora entrarle a cocotazo a todo el mundo ahí, que se joda. No, voy para allá. Ahí a entrarle a cocotazo a todo el mundo.
Cabrón, porque se me pone la X si yo no quiero la X. deja poner el botón que quiero, ¿ves? Es que no entiendo. Ah, Dios. Tengo botón ahí, no me deja ponerlo. Ok. Hombre. Agacharse. 2, 3. Ni. A ver si ahora.
Hay una parte ahí, no sé si es ahí, que te lo deja ponerlo como de fábrica otra vez.
Sí, pero no lo quiero de fábrica porque yo no lo tenía de fábrica.
Sí, para lo que lo puedes poner.
Era también, pam. Yo no me acuerdo, cabrón, ¿verdad? ¿Dónde es que yo pongo predeterminado todo? Cago en la ópera.
¿Y quién tocó eso?
Todo el mundo.
Tú sabes cuando son los mock pitch, que entran a puño la gente, así tienes que hacer tú. Los reúnes y le entran a puño todo el mundo ahí.
Ya, lo puse predeterminado, olvídate de eso, cabrón. No puedo hacer más nada, en verdad.
Entra a puñeta a todo el mundo.
Two, three, mi. Mm.
Te sientes bien, te sientes mal.
¿Qué?
Te sientes bien,
¿Te sientes mal?
te sientes bien, te sientes mal. Tú solo quieres poco de café.
Llama a tu mai.
Llamó a la madre que me parió.
Sí.
Tía, mira otra Miku. Miku.
Dios mío.
Mira un muñequito bailando y mirándonos.
¿Qué pasó? Mami, pero ¿y esto que jugado mundo Fortnite?
Estoy en vivo.
Pero, mira, ¿qué pasó?
Pues dame acá, Kenny. Quita el speaker.
Exacto.
Que no entregue un trabajo, o sea, se quedó dormido y entregó un trabajo incompleto.
¿Qué trabajo?
Bajó 5 puntos en la clase, eso no es nada. Como quiera tienen A. Se pone a hacer un trabajo de la universidad a las 3 de la mañana. Claro que se va a dormir.
¿Ahí me invitan la fiesta con ustedes?
No, cuando se fue todo el mundo. ¿A quién se le ocurre?
Mi compa, el que deja todo para el último momento.
Hay gente por ahí.
Tengo mucha gente. Y no tengo...
Ven para acá.
Chicos, no me acuerdo la... ¡Ah! Se la madre la cambiaré botones, bro. Mató un mierda, cabrón. Lo que no falla. No me están matando bots, cabrón. Me están matando gente basura. Oh my god, loco. ¿Qué porquería de gente me está matando? Y ya, diablo, de espalda. ¿Cómo que no?
Papi, le tengo una mira encima, ¿tú lo ves?
¿Sí?
Ah, ¿te acuerdas ayer que tú dijiste quién me tumbó? Ah, fue el sniper. Te tengo la foto ahí,
Sí,
te la voy a enviar, cabrón. Bueno, tengo el que
Por eso
falló.
yo no lo había visto.
Papi, el que falló te hizo el cerquillo. O sea, acá te la envío. Mira, se puso hasta la música del cantazo.
¿Te ayuda, mamá? Gordita chete este cabrón. Pablo, papi, estoy jugando bien malo, bro. What the... Ya estaba acostumbrado a una sensibilidad, una manera de construir, papi, me lo cambiaron, me jodí completo. Bueno, gente, dímelo, dejando esos tiki por ahí, por favor. Se follow. Bro, que vayas allá. ¿Qué es eso? Se le activó la alarma.
Vámonos.
Ya, la tormenta más rápida del mundo. Cago en nada. No me dejan lootear.
Date.
Quería... Ay, Dios mío, por más que le digo ayuda, ayuda, ayuda. ¡A diablo! ¡A diablo! ¡A diablo! Hello. Estoy en vivo. Gracias. Mano.
Están cayendo uno.
Tengo pizza.
Porque había uno ahí, al frente, allá.
Mano, perichea, cabrón, es que no, los botones no es nada. No voy a desconectar. No tengo break, loco, no tengo break. Tengo que poner todo como era antes, no me acuerdo. No me puedo mover bien, nada, cabrón, nada, no me sale nada. Ahora un freezer, que es un jodido cabezón, que eso dura un tiro en la chola y ya. No puedo ni disparar. Te jodiste. ¿Qué? Ya yo quité el en vivo. ¿Qué pasó? Ya quité el en vivo. Roncón, cabrón. Dale, tira otra, tira otra. Vengo ahorita, déjame comerme algo. Me conecto ahora.
No.
Dale.
show you what a dub is. Brother, I'm cold-blooded. Go with the most like drop in with the squad does it. Let me show you what a dub is. Brother, I'm cold-blooded. Go with the most like drop in with the squad does it. Look, you can stop my skill, chop my bill. There's some of our coming at it so ill. We just do that. underground, run the show. I'm the one who knows it's fun to go. I'm a humble soul, but uncontrolled. If they wanna rumble, bro, thunder roll.
Major finals, Sky and Scroll are solidifying themselves in that first place. They do not want to let anybody shake them out of it. There was a bit of trouble in the last match, and now the second place team, Chino and Pablo, wanted to put themselves in that first place spot, but after Sky and Scroll have just won that fight, now Chino and Pablo, they are in a world of trouble.
This is our FNCS. That's all I'm thinking is running through the minds right now for Sky and Scroll. A message has been sent and delivered, stamped and confirmed. Pablo and Chino, that was going to be their best opportunity to try and close the gap. I don't think that it's going to be possible for them to run that back here in Game 12 because everything hinges upon whether or not Sky and Scroll have a dudded performance here today, Takada. And if we're basing it on this weekend, that's just not in the cards.
It's literally what has to happen, though. For Chino and Pablo, Sky and Scroll would have to go down before the end game. And like you mentioned, Taco, odds, it's not going to look like it will end up that way. Akira Karama actually switching up their strategy a little bit. They do land south of Frigid, but now they've decided to take an early rotate to Dark Dominion. They know how contested it's been. Hopefully, it doesn't mess up Swizzy and Pixie's strategy. I've just realized Swizzy did go down, though, so Pixie's left as a solo, now in a 1v2.
Akira Karama, this is also different sightseeing for this duo. They've had enough of the north portion of the map. It has not been working out for them. So they're going to play surprise contest, but it's just going to help out truly indirectly, truly taking shots now at Akira. Incredibly low on his shields, but Pixie being eliminated. At the end of the day, Swizzy and Pixie have done a lot to play catch up, but it is still so difficult to deal with those kinds of last minute surprises. Sharktini though, Huddy and Fishy were already outside of the qualification range, and with TD and Shark being in third place to kick off match lobbering number 11, it's no surprise that they look for the immediate 50-50. It is a nightmare scenario right now for Huddy and Fishy. Their hopes of land rest purely on how badly does Shark and TD want to keep them locked out of it. And Takada, it doesn't matter where Huddy Fishy try to go, Shark and Teeny are going to find them.
Yeah, they've got one thing in mind. Look, I know a first place finish is very great for the EU Major Finals, Shark Teeny being in third, but I think their priority is making sure that Huddy and Fishy do not make it to the Summit 1 Major LAN over in Dusseldorf, and so far, it's looking like it might end up that way. Huddy Fishy were 25th going into this match, and now getting eliminated off spawn by Shark and Teeny. So many big changes. We're not even in the last match of the day. Now I've got so many things going on in mind. I mean, we've got the top 20 cutoff. Some teams just on the edge there. Noah Reason, Chat Flixie, Hari Kami, Skyjop Mumsy. We also have now Chino Pablo, hoping that Sky and Scroll might go down before the end game, but if that does not happen, the gap between first and second is about to skyrocket.
Repairs and Surefour though, Kiri. Couple of love taps into repairs his shields. Still, they'll be able to look back. They don't get the opportunity to try and return the favor here. Repairs and Surefour called it at the start of the day, looking like a real dark horse contender here. I don't think many people, if anyone at all, would have really placed them into a top 5 leaderboard position. But here on day 2, they're looking to see just how much further they can really climb. Still realistic for them to possibly overtake Vico and Malabuka in that 4th place position yet again. Sky and Scroll though, man, what a start for this duo. They are so close to being our Major 1 finals champions. It's like you almost want to say it, but we still just have to see them fully flush it out. And while it is very, very likely, it's still one of those things where you never know what can go wrong next, because we've already seen teams kind of pivot their original strategies, testing out some new methods. Akira Karama is a great one to reference, because normally they've been heading a little bit south of that Frigid Fortress position, but with Vika Malabuka already had some surge issues throughout the course of today, and now they have to keep trying to figure out how to revamp their own surge strategies, losing that possible opportunity onto the French duo, Chat Flixie, also kind of skirting around the mountainside.
Yep, Flixie, say the best German player performance in 2025. Now, they're just on the cusp of qualifying in 15th place. They have 261 points. But if they go down early, that could quickly turn around.
They're both just such competent fighters, though. Chat, Flixie, dealing with the likes of Twek and Nidro. They've certainly not had the weekend that they would have wanted to, but experience is experience. At the end of the day, Chap lurking around, gets the big shot to start things off. Nidro made it closer than what he would like it to be, but Twek now from underneath, trying to see where he can Chop break through. Flixie and Chap, though, firmly driving this fight into their favor. And Flixie, Chap, they might still just want another 4 elimination points, and they might just find it onto Tweg. Doesn't really have anywhere left to run. Hero count was running relatively low here. Gets a good side jump off onto Flixie. Jump shot to connect, but Chap still able to help seal the deal here. One more time, a couple of eliminations going to be confirmed. Kings of the Mountainside for right now.
Big early game for Chap and Flixie. That's what they needed. Yannis cheating. This is a duo that is a bit more comfortable. They are in the top 10, so they're in qualifying range now. Not much more to do, but they would like to obviously bump themselves up the leaderboard.
More importantly still, eager to represent their home country, home pride, right? It's Germans, knowing it's going to be Major One Summit Land in Dusseldorf. That home crowd, very likely to get pretty loud for those two. So they definitely want to make sure that they leave things on a positive note. For Shark and Teeny, though, think back to where Chap and Flixie were just at. There is a possibility that later on, Shark Teeny might actually end up clashing with those two a little bit later on, since they are so far north, playing for the vending machines right now, but I'll have to just wait and see. O'Reilly and Reason, though, they've definitely had a much more volatile day, too. Even day one, gave them a run for their money. They still managed to overcome, and despite dealing with consistent off-spawns, they have managed to stay within that top 20 threshold. And obviously, you want to see 2 German icons in Dusseldorf repping at the LAN.
Issue is, before the previous match, they got 36th, 24th. The 7th place kind of bumped them up, but if they have another match where they don't make it into that end game, they can quickly fall short and not be in qualifying range any longer. So hopefully they don't have to take too many risks in this game.
I feel like the overall landscape of the map, though, had to change pretty drastically the moment that these players caught wind of Pablo and Chino being eliminated so early on, because that leaves Sandy Strip up for contention. So many other teams might have been able to take advantage of what's actually offered from that POI, and I think that's why we're seeing a little bit more littering throughout. Battlewood Boulevard, even teams kind of just more willing to scavenge those southern sections of the map to make their way through. Panzer, Yapko, gliding overhead. Calm before the storm, touching down where the rest of the lobby's at.
There's a team that lands close to Chino and Pablo, but seeing that they're just heading north already, we don't really know if they were able to kind of capitalize on that. One of the 3 duos opting for this rotate as well. Like you said, the calm before the storm, second to last match of the major. A lot of pressure on these players' shoulders.
They have had a decent weekend. still sitting in that 13th position, and currently with only one lobby left to work with here, Takata, it's pretty sensible to believe that teams that are within that top 13 should be pretty much confirmed for that Summit LAN qualification spot. But ultimately, you don't want to leave things up to chance. You don't want to be sitting on the sidelines. You want to make sure that you play out these lobbies as thoroughly as possible, because it's going to be the last two opportunities that all of these teams get. Teeny, Shark still lingering over by Wonky Land too, so when you think about teams like Yepco Panzer opting for those deep north side, dead side rotations, you gotta keep an eye out for where Shark and Teeny are getting up to. And honestly, Shark Teeny, I mean, think about the 2 wins that they've gotten, both 100+ point games, if I'm not mistaken, right? Just based off the additional elimination, basically 100-point games each time. And hey, you never know. Pablo Chino being taken out super early on. Shark Teeny, if they go for the hat trick, things could start to get a little dangerous for who's actually going to finish in that top 2.
That's what I was thinking. You know, they've got a big smile on their face. Everything's going well. They eliminated Fishy Huddy off spawn. No one have to worry about Wonky Land, and now the second place team that was right above them has gone down with 0 points. It's their perfect opportunity to overthrow them. Sure Repairs, another team in that top 5. They're trying to get above Vico Malabuka. Sayaz Scary yet to show us that they have what it takes to continue with their performance from yesterday. Now dropped to 8th. These players aren't even focused on qualifying to the LAN anymore. They're focused on getting the best placement possible.
For Size and Scary, compared to yesterday, it's kind of been a day to forget. Ever since that opening blow against Azat, losing the 1v2, it's definitely seemed like it's pretty much put so much hesitancy into how much confidence they really want to invest for some of these fights. I mean, we're just not witnessing the same duo that we did in yesterday's lobbies, but still definitely respect that performance they put in, because it's left them in a position where they don't have to be too pressed over today, because at least they know they've got the Summit LAN locked in.
Looking over at what Thomas HT and Focus are up to. Thomas is known for his AR aim. It was actually Nebs. They've had such a tough day as well. Nebs and Nathan. I'm wondering if both players actually did end up going down after that. For Thomas HD and Focus, though, they are sitting in 6th place right now. Good news for them, it's 5th and 6th. The gap is not nearly as much as it is from 3rd to 2nd or 1st. So they have a very good chance they can at least push themselves into top 4.
Did see just then, though, that leaderboard overview. Dharma and Deemish, 7th place team, has been eliminated. They've been very key heavy in today's matches ever since they were able to pretty much confirm maintaining top 20, but hey, never want to bite off more than you can chew, especially when there's so many duos that are also still so hungry to see how many more placement points they can climb up. Learning points, learning pains, growing pains too for Darn Deemish here, but for Twy and Cringe, 51 below currently. Zone pool just outside Squibbly Shores. They're gonna be harassed now by some of these surge ticks. They've got Miro and Joshbot on the other side of their builds, but can they force the engagement? I don't think they want to get up close and personal just yet. They'd rather see if they can just net a couple attacks from afar. Be much easier to work with than having to go for a 50-50 and risk placement against other teams. Burke will be isolated and brought down. That's a big break right now for Twy and Cringe.
I'm almost more scared for Hari and Cammy that are right beside them, considering that they're 19th right now. Right by the cutoff, but for Repairs and Sure, things were looking so bright in 5th place. The damage was there, but now Repairs is left as a solo, forced to close this game out alone. No heals, no shield, and just one overdrive grenade. This is really not where you want to be.
Might have just stayed a little bit too long inside that last zone. Sure, you get the surge you were looking for, finding the elimination, but ultimately teams that are already based in just better positions, kind of keeping repairs at bay right now. He's going to have to wait for the rest of the lobby to move first before he can even consider trying to depart his current box position. Twy and Cringe, though, picking back up where they left off. And now there's a little bit of flow state happening here. Okay, another nice little elimination pick off there. All that matters right now is making sure that you stay above that surge threshold, but more elimination points never hurts.
No, it does not. Sky and Scroll, they've made it back now from the stressful early game that didn't really last too long. That pressure was quickly relieved. Vico Malabuka, 4th place right now. They're trying to push into the top 3. With the way Shark and Tini are looking, though, it's going to be tough. But so far, they are looking to be managing Surge better than they have been in previous games. But you do have to be a little careful. Being on the edge of zone now, a very long rotate to go. Let's hope they can make it.
But it's Vico Malabuka, Takada. When's their victory royale going to happen? This is a duo that I'm real surprised that we haven't seen them have at least one win throughout the matches that have taken place already here today. And don't get me wrong, top 5 obviously indicates that they've had relatively strong performances when they needed to, but I want to see them fully lock in. I want to see them convert an endgame into a victory royale. And I wouldn't hate to see it, better late than never after all. But for Sky and Scroll, just another elimination added to the pile. 3 in total. 558 above now. Make that 566 for the surge threshold. But the point is, they've got more than enough to work with. They're fully aware of where Ultimate High is at. And fortunately for us, they got a little look back, see poor Frenek trying to keep tabs on what's in front of him, never know what's coming from behind, and unfortunately that was just too much pressure to deal with. A great collapse there by Sky and Scroll.
This is not what you want to see if you're Chino and Pablo right now. Even Sharktini, if they have a big match, it's going to put them closer and closer to that 2nd place spot. That is not what Pablo and Chino want to lose. That's now 409 above, but you gotta be careful. Both players instantly gone down in the blink of an eye. Shark and Tini get eliminated by Cringe and Twy.
Shark and Tini, they wanted to be set up for that front side of the zone, but sadly, that's just not gonna go in their favor. The dangers of playing back side of zone when it pulls the opposite way is players that were a little bit late to the party being able to pick you up along the way. Hydro and Keto now taking advantage of their position on height. Good suppressive fire, good suppressive measures. Shots into Azet's over shield, but at the same time here, no knocks just yet. Got a good connection to their original surge point, but Malabuka, Vico, they're gonna send it. They want front side. Mid layer, torping through. Very adamant in keeping tabs on everything surrounding them. Vico now looking for some aggression onto Nero and Joshua. They find the first. Can they get the second? They might not need it after all. They're content to just wait. That little bit of Cypher materials, that's exactly what they needed.
It's a big opportunity for Vico and Malabuka, though. Seeing that Shark and Tini went down, it's their chance to get top 3 now. All they need is a decent match here. And for Sky and Scroll, they just want to keep expanding that gap between 1st and 2nd. And if Scroll doesn't get caught off here, it looks like they're going to be able to manage it.
Keep an eye, though, on Cringe and Twy. They start scaling their way up the hill face. Sky, Scroll, if they're not careful, you never know. The floor above might disappear, and for Chapin, Flixie, Sayas, and Scary have managed to come knock in and collect. But look at Sky, Scroll. They were headed so deep into the storm. I think that they're looking for a Flowberry Mist Grenade. They're starting to tarp up. Height has no idea. They're not looking this far back into where the storm is at. Haruko and Kira, another duo that's hurting, but Scroll and Sky, they're willing to send it. Frontside challenge onto Height. It's just not high enough, though. And they'll be forced to drop just a little bit, but the damage might have been done. Haruko and Kira had the same exact intentions. Focus, Thomas now gonna throw themselves up onto the high ground. Thomas won't be able to make it just yet, but he's waiting to reconvene with Focus. High ground is being sent into absolute shambles right now. Haruko's gonna be the first one to fall from it, but Noah, Riley, Reason, they've got business up top as well. Noah's gonna send it. One more overdrive grenade into the skies here, but he can't take care of Keto, Reason, and Noah punished for trying to overthrow Haikido. Will finally get brought down though, and Thomas, Focus, they're looking to be the ones to actually have control. And no, it's Sky and Scroll in similar fashion, but Scroll, he's gonna be knocked. No one can get a footing here on height.
The bouncy house of chaos. Sky now is left alone. Just a sliver of HP's gone down as well. Thomas falls. Haijo up top. They started with height after the chaotic high ground retakes from who knows how many teams. Haijo has ended up once again looking to claim it, but Focus is doing what he can to overthrow. Haijo drops. He's out of builds. He does have the HP and shield advantage, but without any mats to play with, it's just making it that much more difficult.
But for all of those teams, we saw like 5 different duos send it. One of them got fully eliminated. The other 4 left in solo positions now. But Focus, somehow, some way, he's still up top. Medius and iDrop trying to see now if they can be the ones to truly overrule the high ground. And Focus as a solo, he'll have to give it up. He's forced to drop here. Medius trying to see what kind of refract he can pick up after the fact. iDrop want to send it downstairs. Cringe and Twy directly behind, but they're not going to be able to escape iDrop and Medius' vision. 6 eliminations already for Medius and iDrop. They knew that they needed a big pop-off performance here today, but Focus lurking. He could play spoiler here. Twy's looking up. He's not looking next to him. Focus just needs to get the opening shot here, but he's still lurking, crouching, crawling around these front side layers. And instead, the pre-existing build, the pickaxe is going to be revealed, but he can't withstand. A different player altogether has taken him down, but Cringe does lose his duo partner. iDrop and Medius looking to bring this one home. Just one more elimination. Just another set of 4 points to go to the count. Cringe trying to see what he can manifest here, but he's stuck inside the storm. He doesn't have a whole lot left to contend with here. Medius, though, with no iDrop, he's just going to stay inside of zone. He knows only 2 builds remain. This is the time. Medius, he's done it once before, and he does it again. A victory royale to close things in Game 11 for Medius and iDrop.
18th place is where iDrop and Marius were going into this match. They were just on the cutoff of qualifying to the Major 1 LAN, and they have now solidified a spot with the amount of points that they have just secured. I am almost sure that we will be seeing them in Dusseldorf. What a way to close out the second to last match of the day. Congratulations to iDrop and Marius. This is what we wanted to see from them. Rank 11 Mini, it's getting intense.
It really is. 100% agreed with you there, Takata. Marius and iDrop were 30th going into day 2.